Friends, today we are going to discuss on exceptions. So basically, we are going to not discuss on details about exceptions, but rather there is one pitfall, there is one slight confusion between two types of exceptions. We already know there are two types of exceptions. One is called uh, check checked exceptions, and another one is called unchecked exceptions. Unchecked exceptions. So these checked exceptions are also called as compile time exceptions, and this unchecked exceptions are also called as runtime exceptions. So when we call this compile time and runtime, here only this confusion arises. So most of the people think that compile time exception means the exception which is going to occur at compilation time, and runtime exception means the exception which is going to occur at runtime, which is absolutely wrong. Any type of exception, whether it is compile time exception or the runtime exceptions, both the exceptions will occur only at runtime. That is, when the program is being executed, then only there is a chance of exception, not at the writing or compilation or whatever. Only at runtime, whenever we will run the code, then only there is a chance of exception. So this is the major difference between these two types of exceptions. Now the next question arises is, if both the exceptions are going to occur at a runtime, then why these two different types of exceptions have been defined? So this is actually a very tricky concept. So this is defined as these first see at compile time exceptions. What exactly the compile time exceptions or checked exceptions are. So we already know that I'm just listing out some examples. IO exception, IO exception, file not found exception, file not found exception, etc. Runtime, whereas this runtime exception, we know that array index out of bounds exception or arithmetic exception dot dot dot. So we have already seen these types of the different types of these checked and unchecked exceptions. We are already familiar with these two. So now when we write any code, and or say if any other programmer has written a code, let's take a different example. Any other programmer has already written the code, and that code is throwing some checked exception. So it is called, we have to handle that checked exception either in the try catch block, or we have to declare as a throws clause. So this method throws so and so exceptions, then only this program will compile. So this is how this most of the programmer get confused that okay, we have to declare there, so that is why it is compile time exception. So if we, so the thing is, if we don't declare this, we get the syntax error, not the compile time exception. We will only get the syntax error, because compiler is going to check whether we have declared as throws or try catch within the code or not. Because this is something like let's take the example of cricket. So what happens is, when a pace bowler normally in the start of the game, mostly we can see in this test matches, even in one days also, but mostly in the test matches, when the conditions are good, wind conditions are good, so they do some swing. So in the offside, they swing that ball and try to uh, make the batsman hit that ball so that they can get uh, slight edge on that and they can out the batsman. Now, what exactly this resembles is the checked exception. So the bowler or the method is prone to throw some exception, that is swing. It is prone to throw some exception, so that is why the JVM, the fielders, that is, or JVM is the captain that or the keeper who sets the field like that, that okay, we are prepared. The bowler says that, hey JVM, I'm prone to throw some exception, so be prepared. So that is the uh, yeah, the keeper as well as 3 4 other fielders come into this offside area for that catching position. So this is how this resembles this checked exception. Now, similarly, the same example. This is the example of offside. So this how this exception is catched. Now there is a chance the bowler might swing leg side. The onside it may swing just because of due to some wind condition or anything. The ball goes to the right leg side. So the thing is the JVM or the keeper is not prepared for that, because it is criminal you swing in the leg side, because leg side it is definitely going to be wide. It is high chances that the ball is going to be wide. So it is very criminal that you try to swing in the leg side. So nobody cares about that. That is bowler's mistake. Similarly, this is programmer's mistake if this unchecked exception or runtime exception occurs. So the JVM is not prepared. So when the bowler balls in the swings in the leg side, so it might become wide, or the keeper may not be able to catch and it will just go to the boundary. What anything can happen. Similarly, the same situation, let's get back to the coding part. So when the situation is like when we try to access any file or we try to do some IO operations. So say IO operation, the keyboard or monitor is not responding or is blocked by some other thread or some other process, whatever the condition may be. So that is not in our hand. So JVM is prepared. The programmers are telling that, hey JVM, there might be some situations, so be prepared and handle these things. So in that case, we are just telling the JVM that okay, this might happen. And since this is not in our control, so try catch gives us the liberty to do some alternative code. We may provide some alternative situation. So if IO exception occurs, what should be done? User may wait, or we may just put some message that please try after some time, some error happened or something like that. So this is our duty, what we want to do. So this try catch is giving us the opportunity to do some alternative way. So the situations were not in our control, so do something else. Now come to this checked exception part. What happens? The situations are under our control, but we did not care. We overlooked. We overlooked and swinged in the leg side. So that is why the situation occurred. Suppose we are trying to access some array and the index value which we are providing is coming from some other method which is calculating something and providing me the index value. Suppose it gives me some negative integer or something like that, and we know that from that value only we are going to access the array. So we should be careful enough that it should be in the particular range only. Similarly, if I'm doing some arithmetic operation and logically the denominator comes 0, so this is our responsibility to check such conditions that it should not happen. Our logical, we should not commit any logical errors. So these exceptions are occurring due to logical errors. So that is why we are responsible. We swung this in this leg side. So that is why this exception occurred. So that is why it is told that we should not handle runtime exceptions, because either we may have written the code, or we may be using the third party library, third party API, and there might be some logical error. So under what circumstances they defined that method, they did some manipulation, we don't know that. So ideally we should not be handling that, but if the business demands that you should be doing something, then we are free to handle that as well. We can just write the throws clause as well. So compiler is not going to check that, it is not going to take care of that even if you declare that. So if the baller says, hey keeper, I'm prone to throw, I'm prone to swing in leg side, the keeper does not care, because leg side swinging is criminal. You should not swing in leg side. So it will ignore that. So only if you tell the compiler, or say the keeper, the baller says the keeper, hey baller, hey keeper, I'm going to swing in the offside. So then only the keeper will keep track of that and put some slips. So this was the basic difference, I guess. With this example, it would be clear. And now let's verify this, that the checked exception or compile time exceptions does not occur at compilation time. It occurs only when we run the code. So here we have a main method, and inside one main method I will write, let's say I will create one buffered reader equals new buffered reader, new new file reader, and inside that if I provide new file and parent, let's see parent. So in parent I have, in this particular project I have files, and inside that one demo.log file is there. So let's give this path files and this demo.log. oh, oops we should be providing double quotes. So this is done. Now this constructor is prone to throw the file not found exception. It is a checked exception because there might be condition. It is telling the compiler, hey JVM, there might be situation that whatever the path, this path may come from, say, from UI or some other way. So this may be wrong and this may be incorrect. So in that case, be prepared. So either we can throw, we don't want to handle that, or we can handle that. So let's handle this and just print some error message, this error as file not found exception occurred. That's it. This file not found exception has been occurred. So this is the scenario, and now what I do is I try to print that, I try to access that, do some IO operation and read line. So now this read line is an IO operation, and this method is prone to throw IO exception. So either we can write the throws clause, but I want to handle it. So here this IO exception is there, and now I want to handle it similar way. This error I am going to print, and it is saying that IO exception occurred. That's it. So okay, now this reader is not closed, so that is why the warning message was there. So now everything is clear, no warning, no compilation error. See, this file is there, there is no compilation error. If we run this, some value has come. If we see this file, so it will show one line, info line or something. So this some value is there. Okay, that's fine. Now let's change this file name. So whatever file I am providing that does not exist, I am ensuring that the file is not existing in the path, whatever path we have provided. So see here, there is no compilation error. So only this exception, this checked exception, this file not found exception will occur when we run the code. We ran the code and see file not found exception occurred. Similarly, since this reading line, that IO thing is not under our control, but somehow using some simulator or some other processors, if we processes, if we engage the IO devices such that it does not respond to this particular method, then in that case we will get IO exception or IO error also. So this is how we have seen that what is the clear-cut difference between checked exception and unchecked exceptions. Both occur at runtime, and there is a very big difference between these two. So this checked exception means this is not under our control, this is not our fault. Unchecked exception is, yes boss, this is our fault, this is our error. So I hope you liked the video. Please subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment it. If you have any doubts, please comment, and please subscribe the channel. Thank you. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.